What up, y'all? It's the Real Ball Washer. Grab your binoculars. I'm back. Hall of Famer on my jersey, and you know that boy is worthy. Today, we jump into Xavier Worthy's mid-season evaluation. We ain't gonna waste no time. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Xavier Worthy, 6'1", 172. Real small guy. Only 20 years old. True junior. Right out the gate. 2021 stats. True freshman stats at Texas. 12 games, 62 catches, 981 yards, and 12 tutties. He came out the gate firing. That nobody on this list has done what he's done in his first year. I don't think anybody we cover is going to be doing what he did his first year, but I could be wrong. I'm not going to speak too soon because, like I said, I don't know everybody's stats. But came out the first year firing. 2020 stats, he kind of took a step back. I want to say he broke his hand that year also, but 10 games, 60 catches, 760 yards, only 9 touchdowns. Only 9 touchdowns. Still a lot of touchdowns. I haven't even looked at his punt return yardage and things like that because he's also a punt returner. But let's look at this season. 2023 is 11 games in so far for championship weekend. 67 catches, 883 yards, and 5 tutties. His touchdowns have went down, but I will say A.D. Mitchell has been going crazy and not necessarily hogging all the touchdowns, but hogging a lot of the red zone targets. And he's been getting touchdowns from 50-yard bombs, things like that. So, you know, a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. He's not the only guy that needs to get the ball, but he's been productive from the jump, as you can see, and that's a sign. That's a good sign to me. But let's go ahead and get into the strengths and see what else that he does well. All right, now, as everybody knows, this is where we get into the all-22 when we talk about his strengths and the things that's not his game. I wanted to kind of speed into this so we can, you know, people that don't really care about the background and stuff, they can get to the part that they wanted to see. But shout out to Ricky. Ricky was the one who kind of put me onto this trait before I even started watching, you know, the game's first film to do this video. But the first thing I seen out the gate before I turned on the tape was his ball tracking. Ricky tagged me in a post, or he kind of replied to one of my posts, and he showed a clip that elite ball tracking ability. I got a couple clips of it. I mean, his ball tracking reminds me of, and this is, now I'm not gonna say that because that's gonna spoil later in the video, but he has great ball tracking. And with somebody like a Bryce Young, who kind of relies on anticipation and touch for his throws, that is a positive. That's kind of a it's kind of like in my team or ultimate team when you guys have guys that are teammates, and when you put them in the lineup together, it gives them a boost. That's kind of what that is. Ball tracking, elite ball tracking ability, on top of anticipatory thrower and a touch quarterback. That's a plus. That's a dynamic duo right there. But also the next thing that I noticed, I got the game on now. Next thing I noticed, effortless speed. I mean, he glides. He glides. He doesn't play. I'm going to skip down to one of these other points because I should have put it after this. But when he was in high school, 9th grade, he ran multiple times, repeatedly, he ran sub 4.5 40 in 9th grade. So that just shows kind of like a generational speed, generational athlete that we have here. Also, when he was in high school, he ran between the 10.5 to 10.65 100 meter in high school. So I don't know what his numbers will look like now, or what he has done when he got into college or after high school, or what he'll do at the combine. I hope he runs at the combine. I'm pretty sure he will. But that's crazy. That's crazy generational speed for somebody that's that young, and now that's kind of why he came into the game really going crazy his freshman year. But I'll show a couple clips. Like I said before, he just glides. He gets into his motion of running quick. He gets up to speed, top speed, quick. He's a glider. It's effortless. It don't even look like he's trying. But everybody else is gassed trying to catch up to him. But anyways, next thing that I wanted to highlight was he has a great change of direction. His COD rating on Madden is going to be super high. But when you look at his change of direction, and what I'm kind of alluding to is his cuts. He in and out of breaks, or running his routes, or even when he's kind of just running with the ball in his hand as a punt returner, he cuts quick. Like he cuts on the down, cuts on the down, cuts on the down. And it helps him in his route running. He has pretty good route running ability, not because he's a really nuanced route runner. He's using his hands. He's squaring guys up like we talked with the last two guys. He's kind of shuffling his feet, or what should I say, kicking his feet, things like that to, you know, maneuver and fake guys out. But he's so fast that he's threatening you with his feet, and he just cuts on the dime. He's into his break. That's what makes him a really good route runner. But even off of that, really good with the ball in his hands later. Like he can just cut up, make a cutback, things like that to get downfield quickly in the punt return game, take a slant or something and take it 60 yards if he needs to. He's really good with the ball in his hands because of that. Also, when he's running, he has a great dead leg. I know a lot of y'all seen when Bryce was running around, like in the Saints game and a couple other games. He don't look fast, but when he get those to finish that dead leg, he done put guys on their ass. He done made guys turn around, tackle their own teammate. He done did a lot of crazy things. Bryce Young that we talking about with that dead leg. So he has one of those good dead legs that'll really leave somebody on the ground or really leave somebody in the dust and get him on some extra yards. Also, when he's running his route, he really drops his hips good. Drops his hips, get back out of the break, drops his hips, come back to the ball, drops his hips on. I feel like if he's running a sluggo or a stop and go, he's going to be dangerous because he's so fast and he drops his hips so well that you're not going to know if he's coming back to the ball or not. And that's what we need in this offense. But we're going to move to the next attention. Next point. Sorry, reading too fast. He draws a lot of attention and he stretches the defense out. Pause. But he stretches the defense. They consistently have a safety over top. Safeties, when they're playing Texas, are consistently 25, 30 yards back because of his speed, and he's still beating those guys down the field. And take it off of that, there are times in Texas where they're in the red zone or they're in short yardage situations where they'll bracket him and double him with the safety who came down into the box. So he draws attention all over the field. It isn't just, oh, he's such a speedster, we got to put a guy 30 yards deep, but they give him a lot of attention underneath because how dynamic he is with the ball in his hands and how quick he cuts off his routes and things like that. That's another thing we need. I mean, when you watch the Panthers film, sorry to make this a Panthers video, but when you watch Panthers film, the first thing that you see on third down, bracketed Adam Thielen. Everybody else can't win on the outside. Safety comes down, bracket Adam Thielen. Whoever the nickel is, and then the linebacker, they bracket Adam Thielen, and he's not getting open. And that's somebody we need to take attention off of so he can kind of be that safety valve on third down, get those first downs. And somebody like Xavier Mitchell is going to make sure that he's freed up to do that. Not Xavier Mitchell, sorry, Xavier Worthy. The next point I have is he's good. He has good contact balance. I won't say great. He has good contact balance. It's plenty of clips. I don't know if I have any, but it's plenty of clips of him kind of taking big hits, bouncing off, staying up out of bounds. They throw him a lot of screens because he can kind of, like I said, dead leg, get out of there, but he can also take a hit and still stay up. He's not necessarily running through guys, breaking tackles, but he's kind of, you're hitting him, and he's a brick wall. He bounces back, and he keeps going. So he has good contact balance, and that'll be great to use after the catch and things like that. Almost like a Curtis Samuel kind of. Curtis Samuel isn't running through guys, running guys over. He's breaking tackles. But if you hit Curtis Samuel, he'll stay up a little bit. Same thing with Laviska Shenault sometimes. Like I said earlier in the last slide or in the last part of the video, he was producing out of the gate. Like I said, I don't know if we'll have another receiver on here that we do. I'm trying to do like maybe 10 to 15 receivers at the very least. 10 to 15 positions, all positions really at the very least. But I don't know if anybody will be productive out of the gate, especially at the receiver position. As we see, man, as a freshman, true freshman, what was he, 18 years old? 17, 18, I want to say, because he's 20 right now. Maybe he was 19. Regardless, he wasn't even 20 yet. 62 catches, 981 yards, and 12 tutties. That's crazy. So he's not one of those guys where it's 1 year of production, we don't know if it's going to hold up. No, he's been productive since he got there. That's a plus. I don't care what nobody say. That's a plus. And also, he's just a big play / touchdown machine. Like I said, he doesn't have as many touchdowns this year, but he's always going to be, like I said, they put him at punt returner. It just reminds me of how the Chiefs, when they had Tyreek Hill and they needed a big play, they'll put him in at punt returner to kind of flip the field or get a touchdown or something to get game momentum. That's who he reminds me of in that sense. He's just a big play waiting to happen, whether it's a bubble screen, whether it's a go, a post, whether it's a punt return, an ending around, a speed handoff, whatever it is, he's a big play waiting to happen, whether it turns into a touchdown or not. He's a momentum shifter, and we need that in our offense. But let's go ahead and get to the next thing, stuff that's not really his game. Now let's go ahead and get into the stuff that's not really his game. The first point I have, and the point I had, people told me about it. When I watched clips of him, I looked at it. When I watched the film, it showed up. He has up and down hands. I was going to put a drop issue period, but he doesn't really have a high drop percentage or high drop rate. He has a good catchable pass rate or catch pass rate, things like that. And he doesn't have a lot of drops, but the drops that he does have are just damning. It's like, damn, like, how did you drop that? Like, they're really, really bad drops. Like, if you were to be playing football in the backyard with your son and you threw him the ball, the type of drops Xavier Worthy have would make you say to your son, yeah, you might be a corner. You might defensive end doesn't look bad in your future, you know. But you're not gonna be a receiver. Like that's the type of drops he has. But the reason I put up and down hands is because he has some catches that are crazy. Like he has some good contested catches where he high points the ball. He has a lot of catches, like a certain player that we're going to compare him to later. A lot of catches where he's just tracking the ball over his shoulder deep with a defender draped all over him, shielding the defender off, pulling it in with his body, coming across the middle, getting a body catch through two guys. He has a lot of catches like that say, oh, maybe he has some pretty good hands. But then you see a drop like the one in Bama where he's on the goal line, runs that, I want to say it's a zig route. I don't know if that's the technical term for it. I forgot the route. But he runs the zig route at the goal line. When he ran against Iowa, that I'm sure you'll see in this video, he had a touchdown. Ran it against Bama, works, gets wide open. Shoot, he starts slow walking the play, really, and it just bounced off his hands. And it's like, damn. Like, how you dropped that? Like, you needed that. Like, damn. But up and down hands, I don't know if that's going to be an issue if you can get them on the jug machines. I don't know if those are focus drops or what it is. Hopefully it doesn't show up, because I know a lot of Carolina Panther fans have PTSD from a certain speed guy who is kind of tall, lanky, almost a track star with drop issues. If you know, you know. Anyways, he also has a really small frame. 170 is crazy. Sorry, being 6 foot and 170 is crazy. Like, even as a basketball player, as a basketball player, it's not terrible, but they're going to want you to put on weight once you get to college and NBA if you're playing basketball at 170 and you're 6'2". But moving on, he has a really, really small frame, and that leads to him maybe having injury problems at the next level. I don't know. You look at guys like Tutu Atwell, who kind of took a minute to get going. Let me stop saying people's names. But it could lead to injury issues. I don't think it has so far, but it could lead to injury issues, and we'll have to see what happens. But because of his small frame, he can struggle when DBs get hands on him. At first, I had it as he can struggle when stronger DBs have hands on him, but then it kept popping up, and it's just period. When DBs can get their hands on him, he has struggled getting their hands off and getting through his route while they're in coverage. I got a couple of clips of when Kool-Aid got his hands on him, kind of muscled him out of bounds, kind of muscled him through a route, stayed in his hip pocket. There was no separation. That can be an issue at the next level, and that can kind of prevent him from being an outside receiver at the next level. But there are ways to kind of scheme out of that. But if you're going to take a guy in the second round at 33, you kind of expect him to at least be your wide receiver 2 or 1. Hopefully a 1, because we need a 1. And if he's going to be your wide receiver 1, struggling on the outside is not a good indicator that this pick is going to work out for what you wanted it for. It might be we spent too much capital on him type thing. That on top of the up and down hands, that up and down hands, that kind of scares me a little bit. It scares me off, like, man, maybe 33 is too rich for me, because I can see him being great at the next level, and I can see him being really good with us, but it's 33 too rich. That's kind of how I look at it. The last thing I want to say is I didn't see a lot of release packages in his bag, and things to counter when he's struggling with that physicality. When it comes to releases at the line, for somebody that's so fast, you're kind of scared to put your hands on him, because if you don't get him, out of there, which is cool. But if you do get him, you're technically sound, and you do get him, you're going to win that rep. So you need a good release package to kind of counter that. When somebody has good technique, okay, yeah, your technique was correct, but I'm going to give you another fake. I'm going to give you a different type of release to switch it up and make you incorrect. We looked at that when we were talking about Troy Franklin, like on that slant at the goal line. Guys that can switch up their release packages and have a good release package, like I said before, Jamar Chase wins at the line a lot. Those guys are going to consistently be open if they struggle with physicality, even though Jamar Chase doesn't. But that kind of scares me, the fact that he has a small frame, he struggles with physicality, and he doesn't have a lot of releases from what I've seen. I didn't watch every game. Y'all know how I do. It's the midseason. From what I've seen, that kind of scares me off, and kind of not necessarily scares me off like I'm good off him, but it's kind of like, is 33 too much? But as of now, from the games that I've watched, I want to say it was 5 of them, those are the concerns I have. Other than that, he looks like a high ceiling player, or a low floor player also. It could really be boom or bust, but we'll have to see at the next level. Let's go ahead and get into his player comp, his my player builder. Let's go. I'm ready for this one. Let's go ahead and get into Xavier Worthy's player build. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. As you can see, we have built a playmaking track star. That boy with the ball in his hands, he can make nothing into something. He can take it the distance. Even if you don't put the ball in his hands, if you want to send him deep, he can burn a safety and a corner over top. Off coverage, he'll beat you. It doesn't matter. He's a playmaker. Put him at punt return. He'll flip the field. He'll score a touchdown. He has a punt return touchdown under his name. And he's a really, really good player and a playmaker. You want playmakers on your team. But track star, because like I said, I think this speed that he has is generational. I think he'll be up there with Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Drew Archer. I don't know. Anyways, guys like that. He has that speed. Ted Ginn, he has that speed to get up there. And since we're talking about Ted Ginn, let's get into the shades of the ceiling for him. I think is Tyler Lockett. Hear me out. Tyler Lockett isn't that fast, but when you look at it, Tyler Lockett has a slight frame. Even though he's not as tall, he has a slight frame. I want to say he's only 183 or something, 185. He's a more nuanced route runner, but he has elite ball tracking ability. When you look at Tyler Lockett, you look at those deep balls from Russell Wilson, look at the deep balls from Geno Smith. He's consistently tracking the ball over his shoulder. Hell, he's looking straight up in the air and tracking the ball just like Xavier Worthy has in a couple of these clips. And he's pulling it in, and he also has this innate ability to make these tough catches. He's not this jump ball specialist, but he kind of shields himself from defenders and pulls it in with his body. The same thing as Xavier Worthy does deep downfield. It reminds me a lot of Tyler Lockett. But take it off of that, because of Tyler Lockett's small frame, you know that boy don't want to get touched. Everybody knows Tyler Lockett catch the ball, run around in a couple circles, and if somebody gets within a yard of him or 2 yards, hell, 5 yards, Tyler Lockett is either going out of bounds or he's falling down to give himself up because he don't want to get touched. He don't want to get hurt. I can see the same thing happen with Xavier Worthy. I know I say he has good contact balance, but he has such a slight frame. That's why I say that may be an injury issue. But Tyler Lockett has fought against that by just giving himself up. He just reminds me a lot of Tyler Lockett, and Tyler Lockett has those subtle cuts, those quick cuts. Even though, like I said, he is a nuanced route runner, he just has those subtle quick cuts, those quick jukes, dead legs, things like that to get open and to run after catch, things like that. And that just reminds me a lot of Xavier Worthy. But kind of next comp down I have, which might have to be the third comp if the third one, steps up some more as he did this season. Panthers fans, PTSD, Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn was a great receiver for us when he caught the ball. But that was only 60% of the time. I know Panthers fans remember 2015 and the years after where Ted Ginn had a lot of easy touchdowns open. He probably would have been an all-pro in 2015 and he had dropped like 6 different touchdowns. And that's where I get from Xavier Worthy. Like I say, he's not some super nuanced route runner. Neither was Ted Ginn. But Ted Ginn was so fast. He had those quick cuts a little bit. I could see Xavier Worthy just being a big play, deep threat that'll get some touchdowns or get a lot of touchdowns to be productive for you if he's with the right quarterback. Hint, hint, how Ted Ginn was great with us and not as good with other people because of the quarterback. We talked about that ball tracking and how that pairs up with anticipation. It could be the same way here. But he will have some drop issues that'll make you just pull your hair out and sometimes lose you games. Sometimes it'll lose you games because these are easy touchdowns that you're dropping and now we lost by a field goal. It'll lose you games sometimes. And would you draft Ted Ginn at 33? Yeah, depending on who your quarterback is. But sorry, I start playing music and stuff. But the last one I have the shades of is Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell took a long time to come on, but now that he's healthy, now that he's out there playing, getting used in the correct system, you see what he's doing for the Rams. He's not a superstar receiver or anything like that, but he's a good quality piece to their system, and he's kind of a star in their system. He opens it up for everybody else with his motions and how fast he is by stretching the defense when they don't really have a lot of speed on that team. They have Cooper Kupp, who isn't that fast. They have Puka Nacua, who isn't super fast. He's not a burner. I don't even know who their third receiver after Tutu is. I know they had the wide receiver, Van Jefferson. They had Van Jefferson, who was a pretty decent deep threat if he could catch. But Tutu Atwell really opens up the field for them and opens up their playbook with the motions and the speed that he have. And if he keeps taking steps up, he may turn into like a pretty good receiver. And I could see that being maybe the floor for Xavier Worthy or Ted Ginn being the floor if Tutu Atwell keeps to improve. But that's all I got for y'all. That's all I got for Xavier Worthy. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. I know a lot of people was asking for this. A lot of people was waiting on this. If you love the videos, share them. Go back and watch that AD Mitchell video. Every video except for one, y'all got to 100 views plus. Most of the time, 200 views. I want to get that AD Mitchell video to 100. It's like at 68 right now, something like that. So go back, watch that. It got copyrighted. This is going to get copyrighted because Bama does not want y'all to see the all-22 on YouTube. But I'm going to keep doing this for y'all. It's been a real ball watcher. Put your binoculars up. I'll see y'all next week.